your latest piece out talks about Athlon football's predictions for a lot of the area teams, including Indiana, Louisville, Kentucky, well, Purdue. I didn't. We'll talk about Purdue. I I don't know that I'm not covering them as much yet in football, but I'm not expecting that for whatever reason. I don't feel like that jump is coming from the first year to the second year for Purdue. They lost a lot when they lost Jeff Brom, and not just coaching, but players and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, and they changed the direction of the program. Brom was more of an offensive-minded coach who developed quarterbacks, scored points, and they brought in a guy who's defensively oriented. I know they brought in that coordinator from Texas Tech or whatever who's supposed to be a hot name, but he's not Brom.
He was a Mike Leach guy.
Yeah. But, they're trying to build their identity with defense. I was surprised to see Athlon pick them 18th in the league behind Indiana in year 2, because I don't think he's going to gain ground on Curt Cignetti going forward from what I've seen so far from Curt Cignetti over the last weekend and over the however many months he's been here, 7? I mean, he's been pretty efficient in trying to A, deliver his message, and B, in terms of connecting with transfers and recruits.
Yeah, and I think Indiana is still getting knocked down because of one reason. It's Indiana. Because no one expects it, until it changes on the field. No one is going to expect it to change, right, especially in the media. They don't have the love of that the fans do, and they're not swayed by that. And until that their minds are changed, because every time they're going like, yeah, well, we've heard this story before. But if you are in the pocket, there is a definitive difference for Indiana. How that translates, we'll see. But I'm going to personally be surprised at the absolute minimum. This is not a bowl team this year for Indiana for a couple of reasons. I've already said it multiple times. The schedule is set up for it in a very favorable way, but also a couple of teams on their schedule like UCLA that's on the road, new coach, new team, basically. Washington comes in here with a new coach, a new team, basically. So they've got several things that are also in their favor, but also being around Curt Cignetti, you can see and feel it's a palpable difference for that program.
Yeah, I mean, just look at what happened over the weekend. They had 10 of their 11 top recruits coming in, or their targets in the class of 2025, and they've gotten 3 commitments already, 3 or 4, at least 3. And we're talking about guys. The big difference is when you look now at the guys who've committed and they haven't signed. They've only committed this year compared to last year. Who the schools are they're beating out for players, it's a big difference. Towards the end, after Tom Allen lost his momentum, he's beating out, Georgia State and Western Michigan and Western Kentucky and teams like that for players. And Cignetti's, several of these guys have SEC offers, other Big Ten offers. The running back I know had Minnesota and several other Big Ten teams on there. So they've cranked up the recruiting in terms of who the targets are, and it seems like their success rate is also higher than towards the ends of Tom Allen's tenure. Doesn't guarantee anything, but what it has done is, I think it's created a PR boost for Indiana football, in that it resonates with other players saying, hey, these guys are going there, maybe I need to look at it. And B, it should resonate with fans and say, this is different. I mean, and it's obvious the administration is trying to treat it differently too, because this week came out the news where they're changing the seating in the stadium, where they're moving the students to the end zone, I guess, or closer to the end zone.
Yeah, and at first I was trying to visualize that, because there aren't a lot of seats in that end zone area. That when they brought that in, they're in the middle of, there's a lot of offices, like the head coach's offices on one
Right.
side, the AD's offices on the other side. So they have their areas out in front of those as well. So, and I went back and did some research, and it basically added like 4,000 seats when it to the stadium capacity. And I'm like, okay, so there's 4,000 seats there. Surely to God, there's more than 4,000 students going to football games. They've got 7,000 in basketball. So I'm like, so did they spread out from there? And does having them in, we'll see what that does. It will certainly ramp up the noise on that end, but yeah, that and the new premium suites. We'll talk about that in a second.
Well, I think they want students down there creating noise when the players come on the field for whatever reason, and I also think they want the visual of students sitting in the end zone when you see those shots on television. I don't think any of this stuff. It's just happening. That I think they've got a plan of what they're trying to create here, and that's the next big thing that has to happen. Is Cignetti's never coached a game at IU before. He's never seen what the environment has been like, most likely. And I'm sure if he comes in there for his first game and there's 37,000 people, he's not going to be happy. And I would predict that pretty safely. I mean, I think he feels like he and his staff have put in a lot of work in, and he expects to see people show up for games. Now, whether that'll happen or not, I don't know. But I think this is all that's a big piece of this puzzle. And as you're creating a winning team, you have to have a buy-in from the fan base that they're into football too. So we'll see how that develops.
Yep, absolutely. And they also mentioned adding quote unquote premium seating, more premium seating, which I tweeted that story, but I said I would be loose with the term premium on those seats because they're on the floor level in the end zone. And I'm like, yeah, that's good if they're right at you and coming at you. But other than that, that's if you go to a racetrack, auto racing, the best seats are up high so you can see what the hell's going on.
Yeah. Louisville added those premium suites a couple of years ago. They seem to be popular. I'll say that for them. Jack Harlow, I know, has one in one end zone at Cardinal Stadium. But that's the next, if you're talking about real big picture, that's the next obstacle Indiana needs to fight with is building a better environment in the stadium for premium seating. They're going to have to do a major renovation of Memorial Stadium because the premium seats, the suites they have now are in the end zone. That's not premium. I mean, I don't know anybody that really wants to sit in the end zone. You want a suite on the 50-yard line or the 40-yard line or wherever, and there are none of those at IU. I guess there are right below the press box, which is, as you know, in Indiana, the press box is one of the highest in the country. If you're in the main press box, you're better off watching the game on TV. So that's a change they're going to have to make to build some suites at a lower level. And haven't they discussed doing some kind of renovation of Memorial Stadium?
Yeah, but here's, in my opinion, the essence is there's going to have to be product on the field. The people are going to have to see that whether it's me or anybody thinking that Cignetti, I think that he is going to make a change for that football program. But until that happens, I don't know that the people are going to invest in that because they're investing in so much now with NIL and this and that. But Indiana is extraordinarily far behind as far as facilities in that regard. Pardon me.
Yeah, I mean, the game day experience, people that go to games at other schools that have, good programs, you can go somewhere. I mean, people expect to go somewhere and be in a suite where you can duck your head in. You go in at halftime and have some nice refreshments, pregame, have some nice catered food, TV on where you can watch a game that's on before your game is on. You can possibly duck your head back in there and watch a replay or whatever. And IU doesn't have that other than the suites in the end zone. And they're going to have to find a way to rework Memorial Stadium on one side or the other and build suites. Some like take out the top 15 or 20 rows and build suites. I mean, that's what I think they would have to do.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and thank you for enjoying our content and videos. And make sure you hit that subscribe and notifications toggle so you don't miss out on anything, whether it's Indiana Hoosiers, the Boilers, the Colts, the Pacers, Indiana high school action, whatever is happening in sports. We're trying to bring it all to you, and make sure you don't miss out on a thing. Again, hit the subscribe button for us. Helps us out a ton. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much.